Alright, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today we're going to continue on uh, our syllabus, which is flow control. Right. I think this one we just skip last class. So flow control, you can go along with R without doing things that are typically associated with computer programming, like writing your own loops and function, right? So means that in R we can do all the criteria that available in others programming, which is loops, for loops, which, while, breaks, if else, else is, right? So in fact, dekat sini kalau kita tengok my slide, it is quite possible to conduct data analysis and predictive modeling tasks using tools building into R. Means that we can use available package, available function, right, in R to do our analysis, right, without writing our own custom codes, right. So but basically, by writing your own codes, right, it may help you to understand your analysis better, right. So today we're going to learn flow control, right. Flow control, in flow control we will learn some function known as if else, ataupun satu lagi else if. And then we're going to look into for loops, while loops, repeat loops, right? So if else if, so this is the most basic control flow statement in R, is the if statement lah. An if statement check whether some logical expression is true or false, right? And executes a specific block of code if the logical expression is true, right? So this is some example of if else statement, right? But by default, kalau kita tengok dekat sini, I boleh write down the standard example is like this. So you start with if, right? And then you do some bracket to indicate your Boolean expression, right? If this is your condition. And then if this statement is true, then you letak satu curly bracket, right? And then you letak statement will execute if the Boolean expression is true. So if this statement is true, then dia akan execute this expression, right? Kalau this statement is not true, so kita akan letak satu lagi function which is else. So dia akan run this statement, right? So this is how if else work lah in R. Same as others programming, sama juga. Kalau kita tengok my slide ni, I letak x equal to 10. So I assign some variable lah, adalah x equal to 10, y equal to 5. Then my statement, if x is larger than y, then they should print x. Kalau tak, dia tak print apa-apa langsung lah. Let's see how they work lah. See, I letak. So let's say example. So let's say I assign x equal to 10. Sorry. X equal to 10. Y equal to 5. And then if I letak dia punya condition, x is more than y. And then curly bracket. This is my expression kalau the statement is correct. So dia akan run this one, print x. So let's say I run this one. So dia akan print x lah. So means that x is larger than y. So dia akan print x. So this is the how if else statement work lah. So now let's look at another slide. So benda yang sama juga untuk last slide. Mana slide tadi? Right. So last slide tadi I letak curly bracket dalam satu line. So you can break the curly bracket to another line lah. So benda yang sama. So now kita tengok yang statement yang ada else, right? So if y is larger than y, x is larger than y, then they will can print x. Kalau dekat sini, let's say I change a bit, x equal to 5, y equal to 10. So let's see what happen. So dia tak akan print apa-apa sebab kita tak bagi what happen kalau this statement is not true, right? Kalau kita letak satu lagi statement, let's say kalau this statement is not true, apa kita nak buat? So kita akan letak else. Else, kat sini dia kata, dalam else, we need to create a curly bracket, right? To indicate our expression, next step to do. So kita letak curly bracket, print y. So kalau kita tengok dekat sini, so dia akan print, yeah, dia print y lah, because y is equal to 10 lah, right? Okay. So this is how we do a if else statement lah. So let's say let's look at another example. Example number 2. So let's say I create a new vector. See this x vector, I have what, lagi I letak is, another one is true, right? So apa yang nak buat, I nak bagi tahu, I nak cari kalau dalam x ni ada word true with the capital T, so I nak dia print something. Kalau tak, jangan print something, right? Let's say if capital T R U T H, which is not in X, right? Kalau ada statement true ni, capital T R U T H ada dalam X, and then I want R to print truth is found. Kalau tak jumpa, right, else print, print benda lain lah, print truth is not found. So kalau kita tengok dekat sini, dalam X vector ni, the word truth with capital T is not in X vector, right? So that's why kalau kita run this one, dia akan print truth is not found. Sebab kalau the statement I letak kat sini, if capital T R U T H ada dalam X vector, so dia akan print this one. Kalau tak ada, dia akan print this one, right? So let's see, kita ubah sikit. Let's say I tukar capital T ada dekat sini, right? Ada dalam X. So I run this one. So dia akan print truth is found, right? So this is for a single looping of if else, right? So let's say we have a nested if else. Maksudnya we have another condition after else. Contoh, for example, let's say the same example I nak guna aja. Example 3. Right, let's look at example number 3. In example number 3, I create a vector x equal to, benda yang sama lah, x equal to what is true, right? So let's say I letak if statement, kalau dia jumpa truth true with capital T, in X, right? So I want them to print true is found. The first time lah. First time. Right? So else, tapi dekat sini I nak letak satu lagi condition. Kalau dia tak jumpa with capital T, R-U-T-H, so kalau dia jumpa T, R-U-T-H with small letter T, so truth is in X, right? So I want them to print truth is found the second time, right? So kalau dia tak jumpa juga, let's say else, the last else, maksudnya dia tak jumpa apa-apa langsung, so dia just print no truth found. So apa yang I nak buat dekat sini, perhatikan. So I ada X, what is true. So dia ada 3 elemen dalam vector X, right? So the first condition, I nak cari true with the capital T dalam X ni. Kalau dia jumpa true with the capital T dalam X ni, so dia akan print true is found for the first time. Kalau dia tak jumpa this one, I nak satu lagi condition, whether dia jumpa true with the small letter T. Kalau dia jumpa, print ini, true is found for the second time. If kalau dia tak jumpa apa-apa langsung, so they should print true is not found. So kalau kita tengok dekat sini, so dia akan jumpa true for the second time lah, the first time lah, because this is a T, capital T, right? Let's say I letak small letter T. So truth is found for the second time. I hope you understand the concept of if else, right? Because we're going to use it in analyzing our data lah. So let's look at another example. Example number 5. Example number 4. Example number 4. So let's say I had a score equal to 75. So I nak bagi grade, right? Let's say this is some example kan. I nak bagi grade. I nak bagi grade if score is more than or equal to 90, right? So I nak R untuk print A. Bagi dia A, right? Else, if score is more than or equal to 80, then they should print B, right? Else, if score is more than or equal to 70, then it should print this fella should get C. Else, if score is more than 60, more than or equal to 60, right? And then it should print D, right? Kalau tak jumpa juga, else it should print F. So kita tengok dekat sini, score is 75. 75 is more than 70. Should get C lah, right? Boleh? So now let's look at another example. This is going to be a very short lecture. Example number 5. So I'm going to use data set empty car. Let's say data 1 equal to empty cars. So kita tahu dalam data the empty cars, we have basically 32 observation, right? Mana tadi? Behind data 1. 32 observation with 11 variables. So I nak fokus kepada variable MPG, mile per gallon. Mile per gallons. So now, I nampak dalam mile per gallon ni, I ada 21, 21, 22 and so on lah. So I nak tahu berapa mean of mile per gallon ni. Right? Then I nak bagi tahu kalau mean dia lebih daripada 20, so you should buy this car. Kalau if the mean of MPG is less than 20, so no need to buy the car. So macam mana I nak buat? If so mean data 1 MPG is more than or equal to 20, so you should buy the car. Print buy the car. Ataupun the car is worth to buy. Right? Else print don't buy this car. Right? So if I run, dia akan keluar the car is worth to buy. Kalau nak tahu berapa mean dia, let's say kita letak mean data 1 MPG, you should get 20.09. So the car is worth to buy. Alright. Do you have any question for this? Now, let's look at another useful function in R. Right? So instead of we are doing if, curly bracket, else, if, with the nested if else. So there are another function called as let's see. In flow control, call as if else function. So we don't need to create if with the statement and else, right? Of course, if you have a more than one expression that you need to execute in one if, so then you need to use if with the curly bracket. So if you only have one task to do in one statement if, then you can use if else function. For example, let's say we look at if else. Let's say example 1. If else, so combine this word together. If else, let's say if else the statement is, let's say I letak T true, false, true, false, true. So for this statement, what I need to do is, if the statement is true, so I nak suruh dia print yang. If the statement is not true, so they need to print all. Nampak tak dia punya relation dalam dekat atas ni? If yang sebelum ni kita tengok, if dia ada condition, right? If this condition is met, then print this statement. Else, print this statement. By using if else function, this is the statement. If this statement is correct, then they should print this statement. If this statement is not correct, then print this statement. Right? So kalau kita run dekat sini, kita nampak dekat sini. So the first statement is true. When the true statement is correct, the first statement is true, then print young. If the statement is false, print old. Right. Mungkin this one is you tak nampak dia punya appreciation kat situ. Let's say let's look at another example. Example number 2. So let's say I want to create a new variable. Let's say if you are familiar with SPSS, right, you of course you already know how to recode a variable, a continuous variable to a categorical variable, right? Let's say you want to recode. Let's look at this one. Let's say instead of printing min MPG more than 20, buy the car when MPG is more than 20, not buy the car when MPG is less than 20. So I would like to create a new variable beside MPG. When MPG is more than 20, so I will like to recommend to buy a car, to buy that car. If the MPG is less than 20, so don't buy the car. So I want to create a new variable. So to create a new variable, let's say data 1 is MPG empty cars data set, right? So MPG category, right? MPG category. So if else, so I'm using if else function, right? So if data 1 MPG is more than 20, so buy this car. If MPG is less than 20, so this is the else function, don't buy this car. So kita run this one. Then if I run data 1, kita akan nampak dekat sini I already create a new variable. Buy this car. Kenapa dia keluar semua buy this car? Something wrong. Sekejap ya. So kalau I nak tunjuk dekat you, let's say I am using a library dplyr. I believe you already watching my lecture video last class. We already know how to use dplyr package, right? So let's say I want to call, I want to select MPG category, right? And then, oops. I want to display only first 6 observation. So if you can see here, so when MPG is more than 20, so the recommendation is buy the car. If MPG is less than 20, don't buy the car. Right? So this is how we use if else function. Right? So I think if else function is more friendly compared to if with a curly bracket. Right? So let's look at another example. Let's say if you still remember, we have used dataset demo in importing and exporting data from R, right? So let's use that data, right? Let's say I'm using data 1. So data 2 lah, data 2 read.csv file.choose, right? So I'm going to select my data set, right? Dataset demo.csv. So this is a comma separated value, demo.csv. So if you still remember that in demo.csv, we have 6,400 observation with 28 variables, right? Now, what I want to do is we want to create new variable which is age category, right? Age category less than 41 we indicate as young, more than 41 we indicate as old. Now can you do that? Right, so how to do it? Let's say I type data1. So I create a new variable which is this one, data2, right? Data2, new variable which is age category, right? So I'm using if else function. So if age is more than or equal to 41, so I will indicate this one as young. This is more than 41, should be old, right? You can do otherwise. So if age less than 41, indicate as young, right? This one no need, old and young lah, right? Age is not found. Oh sorry, this one should be data2 age, right? So if I want to call the data, let's say I want to see the data whether it doing correctly or not. So I'm using dplyr package, piping select age category, right? And then I'm going to show some variable, some first 10 observation lah, right? So dia akan nampak kat sini. If 55, it will indicate as old. 28 is young, and so on. Right? 44 also old. Right? 41 also old. So this is how we do if-else statement lah. Right, let's move to next topic in R, in flow control, which is for loops. For loops in R, right? So I believe all others programming software still using the same concept, right? So for loop statement, it start with this one, right? Let me copy this one. So for, we need to create, you need to call the function for, right? So I in 1 until n, right? And curly bracket with the body of statement, right? So this is for single for. If you have a if you want to do a nested for loops, so you're going to have another for in for function. So for I in 1 until n, so we're going to loop another one for I in 1 until n with the body of statement. So this is the general statement for loops, right? Let's look at the example. Example 1. So example 1, let's say I want to create a number calculation, 5 multiplied with 1, 5 multiplied with 2 until 6. So let's say this is the statement, n in 1 until 6, right? So the statement should be print 5 multiplied with n. So apa yang dia buat kat sini? Kalau kita tengok, kalau kita tengok dekat sini, right? Apa yang kita nak buat? Kita nak print kan 5 multiply with 1, 5 multiply with 2, 5 multiply with 3 until 5 multiply with 6. So dia akan calculate untuk kita all the loops, right? So let's say kita nak tengok example number 2. This is a simple concept. I just want you to understand the concept. Let's say I want to print number 9 until 99. Right? So what I'm going to do is just state I in 9 until 99. So just print I. So apa yang dia akan buat? Dia akan print all the number from 9 to 99. So this is the loop function. So we no need to calculate one by one. Right? For example, another example, let's say example number 3. Let's say we want to calculate mean of each variable. Right? I want to calculate mean for each variable, where I don't really know what the name of that variable. What is the name of that variable? Let's say, for example, I'm using my own data, so you don't have this data. Let's say data1 read.csv file.choose. Right? So I just want to demonstrate something, the useful of the using for loops. So let's say I'm using my own data. So in my data, right, you just listen. My data, I have basically 101 variables, right? So let's look at names. So let's look at str, the structure of data 1. So in 101 data variables, only the first variable is factor, right? Other than that is numeric. So what I want to do is, I want to calculate the mean for all variables without knowing the variable names. Right? Let's say for I in 1 until 2 until 1 until length data 1 minus 1. So I don't want the first one, minus 1. So print mean so length th. So this one should be mean data 1. Let me remove this one first lah. Data 1. Right. So I nak dia print mean untuk semua variables. So kalau kita tengok dekat sini, dia already print the mean of for all variables in my data set, right? So I no need to calculate mean for each variable. So by using for loops, so I dah jimat masa, so I dah boleh calculate mean for all variables simultaneously. Now let's look at something that you can do. So example 4. So let's look at data iris. So iris data. So we have basically 4 variables, right? In iris data, we have 4 variables. The first 4 variables is numeric, right? and the last variable is non-numeric. So can you calculate the mean of sepal length, sepal width, petal length, petal width, right, for first four variables without using without calculating mean manually one by one, just using for loops? How are you going to do that? So let's say data 1, sorry, we're not going to this, we're going to use for I in 1 until length of iris. So since we don't want the last variable, which we're going to minus 1, means that the length of variable here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we want to calculate 1 until 4 only. So we don't need to know how many variable in the data set by default. Right? We just create a curly bracket, print min iris. So this is the variable, the concept of indexing. So we want R to calculate mean of the variable only, right? So we just print this one. Kita nampak dekat sini. So the first, the last one is an A, right? Because this is non-numeric. So the first variable is 5.84. The second variable mean for the second variable is 3 point something, right? So this is how we calculate mean for without knowing the number of variables, right? So I hope you understand the introduction of for loops and if else, right? This is the most important part in R, right? So to understand more on if else function, for loops, and another one is while and a repeat function, right? So I'm not going to teach you on while and repeat function because I think it's going to be your assignment to study on while and repeat function. So don't worry, your assignment should be easy to understand. I already assign assignment dalam data cam. Kalau kita tengok data cam, where is my data cam? Say data cam. Dalam data cam ni, I letak you punya assignment, right? So you need to complete conditional and control flow, which is we already learned for today's lecture. Loop function, right? For loop function, right? So we only discuss for 4 loops, right? So dalam assignment ni, so you akan belajar lagi detail on 4 loops, nested for loops, while function, while loops, repeat loops, and break, right? So make sure you understand this one. But the most important part is for loops and nested for loops. And then the last example is assignment is apply family. So we're going to look at apply family today, right? So now let's move to the apply family. I believe you already know because I saw dalam you punya assignment you ada guna apply juga, right? So dalam apply family, we have basically some function called as apply function, apply function, and then we have tapply function, lapply function, and another one is mapply function. And of course dia ada banyak lagi, but this is the most important part of apply family, right? In apply family, right, kalau kita tengok the function help document, right, so it has apply function. X is the first argument, right? X is an array or including a matrix, and the second argument is your margin. The third argument is fun, right? Fun means that whether you want to include some function such as sum or mean, right, or median, right? Kalau kita tengok dekat margin ni, a vector giving a subscript which the function be applied over. For matrix, 1 indicates row, 2 is indicate column. So by default, the margin is 1, 2. By default is by row lah. So 1 is indicate row, 2 is indicating column. So kita tengok dekat sini. Let's say to find mean of MPG, displacement, horsepower, drag, WT, and let's say Q side. So this is the variable inside the empty cars. So I nak cari mean. Of course, CYL is not the category, the numerical variable kan. Kalau kita tengok str empty cars, dia bagi kat sini semua numeric kan. Okey lah, boleh lah kalau kita nak calculate. But the actual variable, CYL is not a numeric variable. And VS, AM, gear, carburetor is also not a numerical variable. So we cannot calculate mean for non-numeric variable, right? So you need to change this one to a vector. So the actual numeric variable is mean. MPG, displacement, horsepower, drag, weight, and Q side. This is the only numerical variable, right? So let's say I want to calculate mean for that variable. Apply. So instead I'm using 4, right? Instead of using 4, so I'm using apply function. Apply. So empty car. So empty cars, I nak select only those variable. Variable number 1, number 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So this is the variable that I am selecting. Kalau kita copy and display this one, let's say I make this one, I letak head. So dia akan keluar this variable only, right? So I am selecting this variable only. So now, since I want to calculate mean for each variable, means that variable dekat column kan? Variable is by column. By row kalau dia based on observation. So by column, so kalau kita tengok dekat sini, margin to indicate columns. So kita nak dia focus on column, right? And then the next argument is I want R to calculate mean. So I click apply. So kita tengok dekat sini dia akan calculate mean for each variables. Right? So let's say instead of calculating mean, right? Instead of calculating mean, I want to calculate the sum. Right? Sum of this variable. So I just change, instead of calling mean, I just change to sum. So dia akan calculate sum. So basically, this function are equivalent with row sum, row mean, call sum, and call mean. If you still remember, in my last lecture, I already mentioned call sum, call mean. Remember tak? Call sum. Another one is call mean. Right? Oh, sorry. Benda yang sama lah. Call mean. Kalau if still remember lah, call mean, call sum. Let's say so basically we are looking into apply family lah. Apply family. Actually, they give us a bit more flexibility of calculating statistic function, right? So let's say if you change apply margin equal to 1. This is a margin, right? Margin equal to 2, and this is this margin equal to benda yang sama kan? Let's say you change margin equal to 1. So what will happen? If you change margin equal to 1, they will calculate the mean, the summation of each variable, each observation based on this variable, right? So this is what is going to happen lah. So basically, we want to calculate for variables. Variable, if you know the variables are in column wise, right? Column punya tempat, so we know we just change margin equal to 2. If our variable in row order, so we just change margin equal to 1. That's all. Right? So kalau kita tengok dia punya presentation of apply family, dia dalam bentuk vector, right? Dia dalam bentuk dia akan bagi kat kita this is variable name and then the value, right? Now let's look at another one is lapply family. So lapply family, instead of giving the result in this type presentation, right? So they will give a result by, let's say, apply. Just change this one lah. I copy this one. I mean lah, mean. Right. To find mean of MPG, but I just change from apply function to lapply. So by using lapply, so we no need to specify the margin. So by default, dia akan terus calculate the by column. So kita tengok dekat sini. So dia akan bagi dalam bentuk list. Instead of this white presentation, dia akan bagi dalam long presentation by list. So that's why dia dalam bentuk list. So this is very useful when you have a 2 or 3 data set. Through 2 or 3 data set, then that you don't want to combine all these 3 data set into one data set. For example, let's say kita tengok a matrix, right? Let's say I try buat this one, example 1. So let's say I have a list A equal to matrix matrix 1 until 9, and then I nak buat berapa row nak buat, sorry, sequence 199. Nak buat 3 row lah. And row equal to 3 and column equal to 3 juga. So A ada 3 by 3 matrix. So let's say I nak create another one, B equal to matrix sequence 4 until 15. 4 until 15, and then this is and row equal to 4 and column equal to 4 multiplied with 3 to 15. So I ada 4 by 3 matrix. Let's say I nak create another one is matrix sequence. Sorry, I just using another one lah. Repeat. C 8 9 10, right, times 2 and row equal to and row equal to 3 and column equal to so kalau kita tengok matrix ni ada 3 by 2, right? So now I ada 3 matrix. So I'm going to showing you how apply function is useful when you have a different data set. So let's say my list 1, let's say I letak dalam bentuk list A, B and C. So means that dekat sini I tak combine pun this data set. I just letak dalam satu list. Maksudnya dalam satu objek ni ada 3 data set. So this is quite advanced sikit. So now apa yang nak buat, I nak listkan second column daripada semua ni, right? The second column daripada semua tu. Maksudnya I nak listkan 4, 5, 6 daripada first matrix, 8, 9, 10, 11 for the second matrix, 8, 9, 10 for the third matrix. So I just using apply, lapply, right? My list, this is my object, right? So I nak listkan semua benda. So I just use this one, this function, and then second row. Nampak tak? Sorry, this is second column. So kita nampak kat sini kalau dia based on matrix juga. This is a row, this is column. So I nak display column. Kalau I nak display row macam mana? Sorry. Kalau I nak display row, I just type first row. Let's say I nak first row. Ataupun I nak display second row. So the second row. So nampak tak? Second row 2, 5, 8, 5, 9, 13, right, and the last one 9, 9, 9, 9. So this is how useful of using lapply lah. So if you have a lot of data set, right, and you don't wish to combine all the data set into one data set, then lapply is very useful for you to compute any statistical measure without combining all the data set into one. This is very useful. So now let's look at another function which is what we call as sapply. Sapply is the same function. Same function yang bagi result sama dengan apply family, right? So let's say I'm using the same function. This is this one to find mean of this variable right? So I'm instead of using apply, I'm using as apply, right? So as apply, so by default dia akan terus calculate by column. So you no need to state the argument margin equal to 2. So dia terus akan calculate the value. So we no need to add another argument lah. That's the main point. So this is as apply family. So as apply family also can be used in the list method lah. So dia boleh guna juga dalam function ni, right? So for example, let's say I'm using as apply, right? So but as apply lagi okay sikit, sebab kita boleh combine the two value. Actually dia sama juga dengan L apply. So instead of giving this presentation, dia akan bagi dalam bentuk presentation yang lain lah. Let's say kita tengok this one. Right, benda yang sama lah basically. So let's say kita letak 1, 2. So dia akan bagi detail lah. Maksudnya this one sama juga dengan atas dengan L apply. So nothing different, but the presentation is more kita akan save sikit satu lagi argument without using margin argument, right? Now we try to look at M apply. M apply is for multivariate apply. M apply. This is stand for multivariate apply function lah. Multivariate apply. So the purpose is to be able to vectorize the argument, right, to a function that is not usually accepting vector or argument as argument lah. So it same as L apply. So dia akan listkan dalam multiple vector argument lah. Benda yang sama juga. So let's look at the function dekat sini. Kita try tengok. We try to find mean of this variable. Instead of as apply, kita letak the variable dekat sini, the variable that we want to select, and the argument of statistical measure dekat belakang kan. For M apply, tukar sikit. Instead of mean dekat belakang, right, kita tukar mean dekat depan. So this is, mean dekat depan, right. Benda yang sama, right. So nanti you akan buat assignment, you akan nampak lagi dia punya application of M apply, S apply, T apply, L apply. So now last one is T apply. T apply function. In T apply function, this is very useful when you want to do a measurement with a categorical variable, right? You see, let's say kita tengok head of iris, right? Dalam iris ni, kita nampak dekat last variable, we have species, right? Where the species is the categorical variable. Right, let's say look at the table of iris species. We have 3 species, right? So each species there ada sepal length, sepal width, petal length and petal width, right? So now let's say I nak cari mean of sepal length sepal length by species. Right? Means that for Sentosa, I want to know what is the mean of sepal length. For versicolor, I want to know what is the mean of sepal length. For Virginica, I want to know what is the mean of sepal length. So instead of using a complex if and for statement, right? So I just use apply, tapply. The first argument should be the numerical variable, right? The second argument is your categorical variable. So the last argument is your statistical measure. What do you want to do? You want to find mean or median or sum, right? So they will calculate the mean of sepal length for each species. So this is very useful. So let's say I want to find mean of MPG by let's say number of cylinder. So tapply empty cars MPG empty cars CYL and then mean. Right. So this one is going to be very fast and useful computation for categorical variable and numerical variable. If you can see, if I'm using a dplyr package, right, to compute mean for each categorical variable by sepal length, right, so they will take me 3 lines code, right. Kalau I guna tapply, just a single line code. So I think this is the best way to understand apply family, when to use apply family and where to use apply family. So you will save a lot of time of computing and creating a code, right? So I hope you understand this one. Right? Ada soalan? Do you have any question? If you don't have a question, then I nak discuss on the last assignment yang I bagi, kan? Subsetting data, right? If you still remember, yang I suruh you download data from website, from the net, and we try to look at all the question and discuss all the question by today lah. Or maybe we discuss next class. You want to discuss today or to next class? I think we discuss next class lah. Huh? Next class, we discuss on the assignment yang I bagi. But meanwhile, sebelum kita nak pergi ke habiskan minggu ni, so I require you to finish up your assignment dekat sini, right? To understand further lah. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.